Q was fantastic. I'm glad that you're coming here, chilling after that amazing excitement. It was just too much fun, you know? Well, I've got a feeling that we've got to show the next game, so everybody, hold on to your patooties. Because we've got something special for you, and mostly the person who has something that they will be showing us today is none other than the lovely Jeff XVX. Come on, Jeff. And Red Queen, thank you for the resub. Do we have speedy zoomies? They'll be fairly zoomy. Come on. Come, Jeff. Join me. If Jeff is here. Never mind, Jeff is being a little shy today. Everyone panic? No. No, I'm picking Jeff. Jeff? Everybody sound the alarms. We need Jeff. Where is he? Ah! Okay, no, don't panic. Don't scream. Yeah. Jeff, like, whether or not Jeff is here, we can panic anyway. You can scream, okay, get the emotions out. You know what? That's okay. You know, Jeff has chosen a very special game for us today, and mostly the game, what do I want to say about it before he shows up? What do I say? It's on a platform that we have never seen before in Kusogr4nde. How about that? Platform that we've never seen. Specifically, the game came out in the USSR. You want to hop on for a second, RBW? Sure, go ahead. Come chat a little bit. Jeff will be joining us in a second. Dendy? No, the platform for this, let me see. Let me see what it's called. Apparently the Vector 06C, which appears to be a personal computer of sorts. That's what I've got, that's what I'm showing here. I've never heard of this before. Kusogr4nde first, yeah. Hello, wizard!
Hello!
Hey, welcome.
Yeah.
So you've played this game?
Yes, I was one of Jeff's victims.
Aha! Well, we love people like that. So, I think it's time for us to reveal the game. You're not the one who chose it, Jeff did, but you know a lot about it. This is a USSR game. As far as I know, only came out over there.
Only in the USSR.
Yeah, and is it a very spooky game?
I would say there's definitely elements of spookiness to it.
Ooh, good. Well, we've got Death in the Pyramid. Look at Death. He's so excited. Also, there's one graphic, as far as I can tell.
There's one graphic and one music track, as far as I can tell, but it does jam pretty hard.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, this was for the Vector CO6. USSR only personal computer, faded out in popularity as we reached the end of the 80s, started the 90s. Things like IBMs and so on started taking over. However, because it was in the USSR only, there's apparently a bunch of ZX Spectrum ports to it.
Ooh. Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's adorable. I love it.
It's just, of all the consoles, apparently ZX Spectrum had a bunch of ports.
I mean, you know, that adds to the charm, possibly? I'm not sure. It adds to the, yeah, you know what? ZX Spectrum Spectrum has some amazing games. You know, a lot of them end up being a little underwhelming, but some of them are just beautiful. Like, VVVVVV was really inspired by that. I don't know if this platform was inspired by that at all.
I have no idea, but this also according to the Wikipedia page, had a bunch of MSX games ported to it.
Ooh.
So it's had a decent stock of games. It still has enthusiasts in Russia, and I guess the surrounding countries, apparently.
Really?
Because it was the it was the computer that they grew up with.
Aww.
So much like you'll find C64 enthusiasts here in the USA, or ZX Spectrum enthusiasts everywhere. Yeah,
it's true. You know, I feel like, honestly, we have not known a lot about what happened over in the USSR. Oh no, someone's adjusting the screen. I can't capture it right now. Okay, just hold enough. Oh wait, is Jeff here?
I'm here, Brucentia.
Jeff, it's so good to hear your voice.
Yours too.
Oh,
Hope you had a great time at SGDQ.
I didn't go, but I had a fun time watching it.
Oh, you didn't go? I'm sorry.
No, I sat on my butt at home.
I did the same thing.
But I also finished up final grades for my class, so that's good. I no longer have to worry about that until probably the end of August.
Fantastic.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Time for gaming.
I believe with that, I will take my leave. Jeff, you have a real one right here. So I hope Brucentia gets the full experience.
Yeah, so Jeff, I was just talking about this game, and it really excites me because, you know, we, frankly, here in the US, because there was so much paranoia about the USSR and such, we really didn't get to know much of their culture at all. And so,
yeah,
you're bringing us a piece.
And it's still fairly hard to find information about these old Soviet computers and systems. But there has been a movement in recent years, at least in Russia, to do emulators and to restore some of the arcade systems. So a lot of that is available online. There's, for example, a online museum of Soviet arcade machines.
Okay.
And there's a corresponding actual place in Moscow where they have restored some of these machines. They're available to play. And they're real interesting looking. Some of them are kind of what you'd expect out of the Soviet Union. Like, it looks like just a steel box, and you're like, how is that even an arcade machine or a wooden box? And some of them look like cheap versions of Space Invaders, but some of them actually look real cool. There was quite a lot of different hardware that they had back then that was emulating or ripping. Emulating's not the right word, but they were rip-offs of Western computer architecture.
Oh yeah.
This particular system you're going to see today is called the Vector 06C, which is based on a Soviet clone of the 8080 processor.
The 8080 processor, okay.
Yeah, for those who care about those types of things, this they overclocked the processor to 3 megahertz from its original 2.5 megahertz. So it's just the original overclocking your gaming computer.
Oh, nice.
64 kilobytes of RAM, and this one was actually a popular computer for gaming because the graphics had 16 color graphics, and the hardware was pretty good for giving smooth scrolling.
Yeah, okay, so it looks like some of the streamers are still adjusting the screen, so give me just a second. I'm trying to capture as much as reasonably possible, Jeff.
So while you're doing that, let me talk a little bit more about the genesis of this game. It started life as a game called Amble, which was a simplified version. You'll see on the screen you're looking at, it says at the bottom, prototypes Amble and Montezuma. So,
oh yeah,
devs originally created these two games, and this is sort of the culmination of it. Their final product, Death in the Pyramid. And Death in the Pyramid is, I think, an interesting name for it, because you'd think you die in the pyramid, which of course will happen a lot, but it's also your character is death, so it is literally death in the pyramid.
You get to play death? Oh,
you play death.
So on board with this. That's cool.
Yeah. And this was made by two brothers who called themselves the Simebroth Company. It was made in 1992, which is pretty late. This computer was mostly popular in the late 80s in the USSR. So about 7 years after this game was initially made, it hadn't yet been really released. And at that point, they submitted it to a demo scene event called Demosfan 99. And they made some improvements to it, or arguably improvements, such as including this wonderful music.
Oh my gosh, this is music.
It is music, and some creature comforts like a suicide button to deal with the fact that this game soft locks.
Yeah, are there any flashing lights in this, by the way?
There are no flashing lights. Other than the sort of palette rotations that you see on this screen, but no flashing.
Okay, cool. So I'm checking right now to see if the players are ready to go, because I'm definitely ready for death. I love this music, it's too good.
You're going to be hearing a lot of this music, because they only have one song.
Oh yeah,
and they didn't even make the song, they found it somewhere.
So,
and said, this is not bad, let's put it in our game.
Now, this match is a fairly high-stakes match, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's why I decided to ramp it up a little bit. Instead of the, cutesy little DOS games that I typically like to give out, advertise, candies and stuff. Now we're getting death. Things are getting serious. Also, with folks like Author Blues, I need to dig down to some pretty obscure stuff to avoid hitting the toad. So yeah, this is going to be a real test for them. It's a rough game. I am pretty sure we're not going to see any finishes. There are 256 rooms in the game.
Ooh.
I'm not positive that you have to visit all of them in order to win. Maybe there's a route that's a little bit shorter, but I'd be real shocked if people made it
well, Jeff,
even halfway.
I think I need to cut you off because it's time for the countdown. Everybody bring your skulls and other Egyptian things and spam those in chat, because we are doing the countdown. I guess skulls are not necessarily just Egyptian, but anything that could be scary is definitely acceptable. Bubsy is kind of a skull. Okay, and as soon as I see movement, there we go. Author Blues is off. Waiting for Curry Bro and Bendy Human to start as well. Okay,
So what you're looking at is this wonderful game. It has all of the things you would expect out of one of these old-timey games, like fall damage and no continues. So the number of lives you have, or the number of deaths you have, I don't know what you'd say, is at the top. And I think it's a real cute feature that they move. Like, one of them walks off the screen when you die. What you'll see some players doing is accelerating. The shift keys allow you to make the game move extra fast, which the instructions say is to deal with the tedious parts of the game.
Oh yeah.
As if there were any. And there is a map, so it is the one item in the game that you have to affirmatively use, and I didn't find the map all that helpful. It doesn't indicate, for example, what kinds of doors you're crossing.
I'm sorry, I just saw High Spirits tried to make a jump. Death flew across the screen and apparently died from fall damage.
Yes, fall damage is rough, and if you want to go fast in this, good luck to you, because it's hard to control. I guess it's like Castlevania style jumping where you can't change midair. You have to commit to it.
Oh yeah.
There's only one type of jump. It's just a fixed height and length that you jump. So they're going to need to get a little bit of a feel for exactly how far that is, because there's some precise platforming in this.
Yeah, Jeff, you always give games that have weird jumping.
Yeah, that's true. But to be fair, a lot of games had weird jumping back.
So, question. Since I do have a question, how many... They have like 7 or 8 lives, something like that. How many continues do they have, or are there continues?
Continues. You and your Western luxury. There are no continues.
Oh no.
There are extra lives though. At every 10,000 points, you get another one. So you'll see.
That's not actually too bad. Yeah.
You go through lives real fast though.
Yeah, I can. So, I can definitely see that. It looks like occasionally you do have items that will cancel out a death if something tries to kill you. That dies instead.
Yeah, basically, it's an interesting system. You have an inventory, you pick up these items, but instead of actively using the items get used in particular situations. So when you come across a door, it uses the key. When you come across an enemy, it uses the particular type of weapon that kills that enemy, and then it gets used up. So the skulls, you'll see, have an axe. Like if you look in the Cerebro or High Spirits screen, it's not Cerebro, but on High Spirits screen now, there's an axe with a blue handle and then a skull behind it. That is what that icon is. So if he runs into a skull, it'll use that up and the skull will die.
Nice.
It's an interesting system. It's something you don't really see in modern games.
True. But I think, especially with how fast everything is moving, I'm glad they put items here that will actually help you make progress.
Yeah, I mean, things are strategically placed, and as you get into the game, you'll see that if you take the right route, you'll get the items that you need to help you pass through particular rooms. And then there's some other nice little features that first aid kit that's on High Spirits screen.
Yeah.
When you die, you don't lose a life. So you restart the level from the beginning of the screen, but
yeah.
It's kind of like having an extra life, really. This game, as you can see, is a little bit non-linear. So what we're doing is going with score to track progress.
Okay.
So right now, Author Blues seems to have gotten the highest score so far at 16,400. But as you learn what to do in this game, you actually can score quite a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if people got up to 40,000, 50,000 points. So that is certainly not insurmountable.
If they beat this set of levels, though, is that a mark of progress?
If somehow they beat the 256 rooms in the game and get the crown and win the game, then that would be win.
Ah,
But
okay. Otherwise,
aside
it's
from
score.
that, it's going to be score.
Sweet.
So these things that look like pumpkins with teeth that go up and down are called spiders in the instructions. I just don't see it.
No, they're
But
pumpkins.
I guess they aren't right, but
Those are not spiders. I do not believe that.
well, I don't know what to think of it either. But the lore is that they're spiders.
Well, the lore's dumb. And wrong.
The lore is wrong. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like...
So you'll see now. Author Blues just skipped it, but so there are different
Uh-oh.
kinds of keys. You'll see. There are 3 that are numbered, 1, 2, and 3, and they obviously open the doors numbered 1, 2, and 3. Although you don't see the number of the door until once you've already opened it. There's also a gold key, which is basically a 4th key. It just doesn't have a number on it. And then there is the kind of ordinary looking key, the small one, is the master key that can open any door. So if and you don't really get a choice of which one you use.
Yeah.
So if you have a number 2 key and come to a number 2 door, it'll be set up before the master key. You also have a limited inventory space, so you'll see some of the players might get a little confused when they're trying to pick something up. And their inventory is already full, and they're like, why is it not picking it up? And you need to think about what you want to pick up because you have a limited inventory. So, for example, if you already have a number 1 key, you might not want to pick up another one. If you're feeling like, hey, I'm real good at this game, I don't need the axes and swords, then you can save time by just going straight for the keys.
Okay.
The map is, you use it once and then it gets used up. I didn't find it particularly helpful.
What?
Because it doesn't
It's a
tell
one-time
you.
use?
It's one-time use.
Why?
Well, to be fair, it doesn't really do much for you. I found little reason to look at it. What would be useful is if it told you, hey, this door here that's locked, that's a number 1 door. So you see a number 1 key and you're like, okay, I can plan for that. But it doesn't do that, it just shows you door.
Okay.
Maybe you can figure something out from the colors, but...
Hey, High Spirits and Bendy Human are doing pretty well with points right now. They're passing the 10,000 mark. So that's a pretty good sign of progress for those two. Author Blues had to start over, of course, which we're going to see a lot.
I think so. You go through lives very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And as far as score, killing enemies gives you points, so there is some incentive even if you can move through the game or move through rooms fairly quickly to actually slowing down and killing some of the enemies.
Oh, yeah.
But there are actually, later on in the game, bags of money, which give you significant amounts of points, which is both helpful for progress in the game and also for winning the match.
So here's one thing that I want to talk about just a little bit. Let's talk about the music, because this music is pretty awesome. But I think we had some potential hearing loss from some of the players.
So, the thing about the music is that it's real loud. It's really loud. Like, turning your system volume down to 2% will still make you go deaf. 1% is like, manageable. And the emulator, actually all of the emulators of the system have no button for adjusting volume. I assume that's because there was no volume adjustment button on the original hardware. So there's nothing to emulate. But
yeah, so my belief is that High Spirits has it down to 1% volume, and I haven't even turned his volume all the way up on my end. It's about halfway, so we're at 0.5% volume.
Yep. You see Author Blues in a dark room. There are actually light bulbs, although they kind of look like brown blobs. And they will illuminate the whole room for you, and then they automatically get used up. But it's one of those things where you don't want to have too many light bulbs in your inventory, because you can't drop things in your inventory. And so if you have 2 light bulbs and there are no more dark rooms nearby you, then you're going to have those 2 spaces you can't fill up with keys or swords or other useful things. The gold key, in case folks are wondering, on Author Blues' screen, it's the one on the left that looks like a stamp with a lollipop in it. I mean, there's 2 of them. So it's probably not a good 2 number 1 keys and 2 gold keys. So it's generally better to have a little bit more of a variety, but you can't always help it.
Oh, I think, Author Blues is starting to get the hang of actually killing things, which is good. That's going to be super important when it comes to actually getting a high score here.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that's not self-evident from the game itself is that the axe is, in addition to being used to kill skulls, also used to kill the gravestones, which the manual describes as snakes, which I have no idea how they get there. But they are snakes which cause you to go to a gravestone, I guess. But there's no indication whether a sword or an axe would kill them. That is in the instruction manual, so I told you that.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm doing a quick Google search for Russian spider, and none of them look like pumpkins.
I have no idea how they came up with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that, we could teach them some Utah biology and help them out.
So the thing you see on High Spirit's screen, the item on the left of the inventory, just disappeared, but that was the light bulb.
Ah. Oh yeah, that could help out, especially if there are big falls.
Yeah, with fall damage...
The ladder! The ladder's too good!
So, the ladder has some issues. One of the issues with the ladder is that you can't climb off of it in the middle, which means that there are some screens where it looks like, hey, I want to get off the ladder and move right here on this platform, and you can't do that. Another thing is, sometimes when you walk to the top of the ladder, you don't actually go off the top of the ladder, you just kind of get stuck on that last rung there.
Yeah.
So you can get out of that by jumping a little bit.
By the way, people should definitely keep an eye on Bendy Human. With 17,000 points, there's a chance that he may be able to move up to first place.
18, yeah, definitely. There are a lot of objects that can score points in that area.
And with this many lives, yeah.
Yeah, the key on the left side of Bendy Human's inventory is the master key, that kind of plain-looking one.
Okay. Ooh, Author Blues is dead. Gonna be starting back over. Actually, that might have been a reset, I'm not sure. Okay. So, wait, what kills the pumpkin spiders?
The sword.
The sword.
Which has like a little demon icon on it.
Oh, Curry Bro has it.
Yeah.
Okay. Kill
that
those.
Confused me for a while, because I'm like, sword, I'm looking for an enemy that looks like that. There isn't one, it's pumpkins / spiders.
The pumpkin spiders. Oh, the bad thing is that Bendy Human's coming up, and just really does not have any room in his inventory. That's going to be problematic.
that's tricky about the game is you can soft lock, among other reasons, by not having the correct number of keys.
Yeah.
If you go out of order, you're just kind of stuck. You never really know when it's going to happen. But you die enough in the game that, if you're sort of looking around for the next door or key, you're probably just going to die on the way there.
Oh, yeah.
So it sort of all works out.
I like the optimism. It's okay.
There was also an item that was on Bendy Human's screen very briefly. It's a helmet with a star on it, and that makes you invisible to living enemies. I don't know exactly what that means, but it's an item that doesn't go into your inventory. It just gets immediately used.
Really?
I couldn't really figure out what it does.
Can pumpkin spiders still kill you?
I think everything's still... I don't know. I just died so much, I didn't even really notice. Well, because it's not like with some of the sword and the axe, where like you hit something and then it disappears. It's just immediately used, so I'm not really sure what it is. But at any rate, its effect wears off after you die, which happens, a few seconds later. So.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, if I'm not mistaken, Author Blues is still in the lead. I think Bendy Human got pretty close to moving up there. They should be in second. I think High Spirits is third and Cerebro fourth, but it's very difficult to say. We've got plenty of time, though, for people to change these orders. Remember, we are judging based off of score. Whoever gets the highest score at any given point during the match takes the victory.
So Bendy Human had an opportunity to grab some of the light bulbs on the last screen, but maybe feel that they know this room well enough to forego them. Looks like maybe the case.
They should probably bring an exterminator into Death's pyramid.
Well, we don't know if it's Death's pyramid or Death is just like an invader in the pyramid, like a Tomb Raider.
A Tomb Raider?
Oh, a Tomb Raider.
Yeah, could be.
The ultimate goal is to find a crown in the top level of the pyramid. I'm not really sure why Death wants a crown, or how that wins. There's really no explanation of the lore of like why you're there, or why you're green.
I don't know. Like, maybe he just wants to be pretty. Oh yeah, there is a button in the game that speeds it up. That's why occasionally you'll see them going like double the speed. Okay.
I think it's a pretty risky strat to do that, unless you feel like you know real well what you're facing. But I have a feeling that towards the end of this match we're going to see a lot more use of it as players scramble to try and get in one last good point run. I actually think this would be a fascinating game to route for a speed run or a task, just because there are so many different ways to go through it, and so many possible optimizations in terms of which items you pick up so that you can manage your inventory effectively. And there might actually be a lot of reasons to intentionally death warp, or to intentionally die to lose particular items, to get through rooms more quickly, like to not have to wait on the spider's cycle.
Yeah. I shouldn't be too surprised. I'm trying to do a little Google searching in order to find information about this. Of course, I'm not going to.
This is a pretty obscure game, even for this computer system. So, like I said, Yeah, it's a computer system you've never heard of, and then a game that people who have that computer system have never heard of. But like I was saying, it was submitted to a demo scene event called Demos Fan, which took place in November 1999 in St. Petersburg. So this was one of the 4 games that was submitted. The other ones were called Experiment 1, Branch, and Color Lines.
Okay.
I haven't had a chance to play those other ones yet, but there was, I found I guess you'd call it like a newsletter reporting back from this event, and they described this game as a remix of Amble, which was the prototype, adding new elements such as dark rooms, which introduce a pleasant variety, so that the intro screen has a very striking moment, and music is present.
Music is present. I like that. Like, there is music.
It's a arguably true statement, and it is notable because the earlier version of this, before it was submitted to the demo scene, did not have music, and the prototype versions did not have music. So, for those of you who might not be familiar with the demo scene, it's still kind of popular in Europe, but not so much in the US these days. Demos were typically self-contained programs which people used to show off their programming skills, and they usually had like real flashy graphics, music that people composed, and some of the early demos would be included in packages where hackers had removed the copyright protection. So they called cracking the game, removing the password. And so they'd include an intro, which they would call crack intro.
Oh yeah.
And so there were a bunch of groups that did this, and eventually people started making these demos and not putting them in cracks, but just became its own little subculture.
I mean, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, so they didn't often have games at these things early on, but a lot of demo groups did end up making pretty cool games. Psygnosis, for example, did a lot of really cool stuff early on, and one of their demos actually turned into a game, Pugsy.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I know Author Blues here is a big lover of Pugsy.
Yeah. It started life as an alien in a demo. It got changed a little bit for the game, but they really had a lot of creativity, a lot of brilliant programming during the demo scene days. The Soviet Union had a demo scene to some extent. It was inspired by the Western demo scenes, but it didn't really flourish as much back in the 80s as it did in the US and Europe, or at least Western Europe, the parts that weren't behind the Iron Curtain.
Yeah.
So the original prototype, Amble, the maker actually they made an Amble editor, which is how they were able to design a game like this, but sort of complex with 256 different rooms in it. To fit things into onto a single floppy disk, there are actually only 32 types of rooms, and they're like the layout is sort of repeated.
Okay.
Some of the items are moved around, but there are only 32 types of rooms.
Ah. Yeah, I suppose that would help make it a little bit simpler. Oh, Author Blues being greedy. You want a key, but you have too many items. Go stab a pumpkin, okay?
Yeah, it's easy to be greedy and be like, no, I want to save these. I might need these items later.
He's gonna have to get the axe. Right. Oh no! Oh, he managed to do the axe dodge. Good. I just love how much little manipulation you have to do in order to get through some of these screens. Like, it's kind of clever. I want to think that it was on purpose.
I imagine it was. You know, this is the third iteration. There were 2 earlier prototypes. They had really worked on this game quite a lot by the time it got to this point.
Yeah.
And then what you're seeing now is the updated version of it. And this was actually, so it was originally made in '92, and then it was submitted to the demo scene competition in 1999. So 7 years later, they went back and added the music and fixed soft locking. Well, I don't know if you call it really fixing it, but allowed you to commit suicide when you soft locked. So 99, right, pretty far after this computer was popular in the 80s, but thanks to the magic of emulators, we're still able to play stuff like this. There's been, oddly, a great interest in recent years in creating emulators for this system. It's now supported preliminarily in MAME. The emulator that they're using here, I picked because it seemed to have the most accurate music emulation.
Oh, I'm so glad.
That was really the key thing for me. We have to have good music emulation.
Oh yeah, for sure, you know?
And the files are stored in a variety of different formats. And not all of the emulators support all of them. So some of them are floppy disk images, but this game is not available as a floppy disk image. It exists, at least this version of it, it exists only on the archive of the demo scenes website where they keep submissions from previous years. So that's how I was able to find it. It was tough to find. There is the earlier standard version is out there, and it's part of the main ROM pack for the Vector 06C. But
yeah.
In addition to not having music, it's the older version, so it doesn't have all the bug fixes in it. I wanted to make sure that they had the nicest possible version of this game.
Well, good. I'm glad that you are that kind.
In case anybody's interested, this particular software, this particular emulator they're using is called SPC Vector, and it's available for Windows in both 32 and 64-bit format. I guess I can't really say anything about how to get the ROMs for them, but they exist.
I'm just trying to find, is there anything about death and a crown in this world? I mean, there was an album about Death's crown. I presume Death probably wears a crown. He's just upset the Egyptians stole it. Has to go through this pyramid, lots of spiders and dead people.
Mother Blues has really filled out that map there.
Oh, yeah. So, where do you go from there, though?
You go up.
Oh, okay.
There's 16 levels of up.
Oh, no. Yeah, now I can see why you decided to base off of score instead of quote-unquote progress, because who knows?
The score is actually a pretty good proxy for progress, though, because I guess in some sense killing the enemies can be gratuitous, but almost everything you do is some progress through the game. or at least everything that rewards you with points. So there's that helmet on Author Blues' screen.
Yes.
So you just get it and then it's gone. And then it's like, what did that do?
Yeah, but okay. Author Blues definitely has a new top score, 20,000 points. You saw that he got another life up. So that's a pretty good mark of progress right now. Biggest thing, though, is how long can Author Blues keep this streak going? High Spirits is doing a pretty good push here as well. He's got 10,000 points and has a reasonable number of lives left at this point. You know, still could end up getting... Oh, there was a death right there. Ooh, a little bit sketchy now.
So one other fun fact about the Vector 06C. I'm not going to post a link, but if you look at a picture of the keyboard, the arrow keys are up, down, left, right, and then diagonal, up, left. That's it. You can't go diagonal in any other direction besides up and pitch.
Okay.
There's also a secret button that I did not tell them about that turns off the music.
Oh, thank you for not telling them.
It is the this one you're asking about. It is the Russian/Latin button.
The Russian/Latin button. I love it.
It's LAT/
Yeah.
That turns off the music. There's also a cheat code that they put in the instructions that gives you infinite lives. But obviously I didn't tell them about that. But,
yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
But if people are interested, after the match, they want to practice this for speed running. In addition to save states, you can also have infinite lives.
Yeah, we'll see how the players feel about that after the match is over.
I have a feeling Author Blues is going to want to speedrun it.
He might want to play it a little bit more. He's going to say this is janky, for sure. But I think he's going to like it to some degree. Oh, I love the fall damage. It's so easy to just die. Like, you fall 2 blocks, you're dead. That's just how it is.
Yeah, I think it's 2 tiles is the 2 or 3. I forget which one it is. But yeah, it doesn't take a lot of fall like.
So just so everybody knows, by the way, this match is pretty darn important because all of the players have 20 points. Only the top player in this match is going to move forward. They will get up to 30 points and will be making the bracket. The other 3, unfortunately, will be eliminated.
I think this is a tough game to have for if you're racing this, for this to be something that matters, because it's not like you're just going from left to right, just keep pushing. You really have to be thinking carefully what your route's going to be, how you're going to get all the points, and how are you going to get to first place in this race, not knowing how everybody else is doing.
Oh yeah, I'd agree. We only have 25 minutes left, by the way.
Oh no, only 25 more minutes left? Time flies.
Time flies when you're having fun.
So this is actually pretty cool that there were some original games for the Vector 06C. A lot of it was ports from MSX games.
Oh yeah.
But this is one of the, I mean, which is kind of what you expect from a lot of the systems at the time. The same stuff was on Amiga and MSX and Spectrum. But this actually had a pretty good number of original games, both basic and assembler.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm watching Author Blues right now. I think the wise decision would be to use more of these keys. Just find doors that the keys work for. Nope, not like that. Not picking up extra keys.
My strategy. at least when I entered new areas, is just unlock as many doors as possible, even if I don't want to go into that area. Just use them up, because you're probably going to need them at some point.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like mostly what he needs are 1 doors, but there are a lot of 3 doors around instead.
Yeah. There's a question in chat, what do the gold keys that look like a postage stamp do? They basically function as key number 4. There's nothing special about them. There are gold doors that get opened with that gold key.
But everything's gold.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's what it's called. These are. It really looks more yellow than the other keys. Look a little, I don't know, bronze or orangish.
Yeah, it kind of does.
The only one that's a real special key is the plain-looking one. That's the master key, the small one.
Yeah, I've gotcha. So wait, does High Spirits have the gold one or the yellow one?
Yeah, High Spirits has the gold stamp one.
Okay. Oh.
And one of the things that makes it real frustrating is until you get a little bit further into the game, you don't know what doors are what numbers. So when they're closed, they don't say what they are. You just have to learn to recognize them.
Important note, by the way, High Spirits is at 20,000 points. That's definitely a 2nd place right now. But both High Spirits and Author Blues only have this life. I think we're going to see a game over for one of them really soon.
That is probably the case. This is really nerve-wracking when you get down to your last life, because all of these jumps are possible. You can always dodge the skulls and the pumpkins. It's just real tricky, but Author Blues just racked up a lot of points over those 3 doors.
That's huge.
Closing in on 30,000 when he will get another life, which may happen with all these items up there.
There we go, with the money. Author Blues is up to 31,000 right now. Very nice.
The maps are useful for having nothing to do with the game, but for purposes of the race, because you can use them right away. They give you points to collect, and then you can free them up in your inventory.
Yep.
They may have some strategy value for the players to see what they haven't explored yet.
Does it even show you where you are, though?
No. I couldn't really make any sense. There's no, like, you are here. But to be fair, maps don't normally do that.
It's true. Yeah, and if they do, then you have a really special map.
Yeah.
Very kind map. High Spirits did, in fact, die. There's still plenty of time, though, for everybody to make 1 or 2 pushes.
Yeah, I think so. And if you know where the money bags are located in some of the areas with a lot of doors, you can really rack up points pretty fast.
Okay, Author Blues grabbing the master key. Oh my gosh. At least we have these hot jams. You know, Jeff, that's all I need in my life.
It's not really a hot jam so much as a hot jam.
I don't know, it's like they took several jams and just kind of stirred.
Alright, I could go for that.
Okay, Author Blues made the scary jumps. I love that, like, the little headstone ends up killing Death. And
Right?
I wonder why. Does it, like, immediately absorb him?
The lore is that it's a snake.
This is so dumb.
I don't know why. The instructions say gravestone parentheses snake.
Okay, let me just say that Utah
call
biology
them friends.
superior to USSR biology, okay? 100%. Like, that doesn't even make any sense.
Maybe it makes sense in some cultural thing that we're not aware of.
And Author Blues takes a death. That is the end of that run. 34,000 points. Very, very nice. Bendy Human is making a good push right now, by the way. 21,000 points and 3 extra lives. 22,000 points. Let me fix that.
Yeah, they're actually all doing extremely well. I don't know how clear it is from watching it, but it's really hard. The fall damage is a huge thing, and just because it's like 2 or 3 tiles will kill you, and you often get to situations where the only way to get past is to get the key to a particular door, and you don't have it. You have to go back and look for it. So as the first time you play through, you don't really know much about what it is, but after you play a couple times, you have to remember where these things are located. There are a lot of them, but when you need a particular one, you need to know where it is. So like Bendy Human just died, but had number 2 keys with a 3rd one on the screen. Obviously that's not going to be real helpful right now. There's a lot going on. But it just got me that the platforming was so precise. And there's not any RNG to any of this, right? Everything is what you see is what you get.
Oh yeah.
And if you really have a good grasp of exactly how far you jump, how long it takes, how high you jump, then you could play this the same way every time.
By the way, Cadis is pointing out that Bendy Human did end up in a death loop, meaning that unfortunately there was no hope. Bendy Human just ran through all of their lives and unfortunately ended that attempt.
The instruction said that they fixed the death loops.
What? The instructions say they fixed them?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you, instructions.
I mean, I don't think they had any QA testing. I think they probably just noticed a couple of rooms where that happened. Fixed it. What you'll notice is sometimes you respawn in odd places in the room, and that was their attempt to fix it. The problem is if you jump off of the edge of a screen, and when you enter the new screen, you would immediately die to fall damage. So they fixed that.
Okay.
But I don't know if they fixed all of the death loops. But they did a pretty good job. I mean, of all 4 of them playing this for, 45 minutes.
Oh yeah.
We've only seen it once.
So, chat, I need to ask you, what's your favorite part of the game that we may or may not have mentioned up until this point? Because I want to know what you love about this game. Besides this hot baseline with prototypes with the I instead of the Y. Okay, the music at this volume is okay. The pumpkins.
So the game's not in English, so I don't know if prototypes is a correct spelling Cyrillic.
I have to imagine no.
I guess some of the things are in English. They call themselves brothers in English.
Oh, yeah, people are saying death needs lights despite having no eyes. That's true. Yeah. The spiders. Yeah, why is death teal? Like, I'm colorblind, so I didn't want to say for sure. I thought that could possibly be gray, but I think that it's a teal color.
Yeah, teal or cyan, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. I guess just they wanted to make sure they used all 16 colors on the screen.
And why the lab
That's the only one that was left. Well, what would be a better color for Death? Black? I mean, that wouldn't work.
Gray? Like gray, kind of skeleton color. That would work well.
You mean like the skulls?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
they were able
why
to get
would you
the
wanna
skulls right.
Why would you want the skull? No, see, that would just mean Death is just like a skeleton.
Have you seen pictures of Death? He's a skeleton in a cloak.
I'm
Not
looking at
a
video game.
teal body in a lab coat.
I'm looking at a video game of Death. That's what Death looks like. I'm just going to chalk it up to cultural differences. Maybe
Okay.
that's what Russian Death looks like.
Also, when Death dies, he wiggles his scythe. I think that's my favorite part of this.
That is so cute. I love that.
The scythe wiggle.
And I'm actually impressed for a computer of the time. The controls and the scrolling, everything is pretty smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, the controls are janky just by how they programmed it, but the hardware is pretty impressive. Probably because they overclocked it to 3 megahertz.
So when did this come out, by the way? Or the computer?
The computer came out in the 80s.
Okay.
And it got popular in the late 80s. And I'm not... I mean, there were a couple different versions of it. I think they eventually improved the CPU to 4 or 5 megahertz, but, you know, it's kind of typical for the time, 64 kilobytes of RAM. But it did have a really advanced graphic system for the time.
Yeah.
You know, 16-bit, essentially EGA colors is pretty good. And we're like, when I think about what I was playing on the 1980s, it was like, you know, an Apple II, which was, I'm not sure if it was actually CGA, but it had that number of colors on the screen at once. It wasn't real good. You certainly didn't get anything like this level of detail.
Oh yeah, Apple II was definitely nowhere near this. Like Commodore 64, I could see this being on Commodore 64. Maybe not looking this good, but maybe.
For those of you who care about hardware on things, it's actually a pretty unique graphic system that they came up with for this. I won't go into details because I found it a little too technical for my understanding. But if you want to take a look at it, it's kind of odd. But because of their graphics capabilities, it made it very popular with gamers.
Yeah.
So, you know, basically the two games they had there were Tetris and this.
They had other games.
Oh,
No.
they did?
Yeah, you told me at least 3 other games that this same group made or something.
Okay,
They had other games.
They had quite a lot of games. A lot of them were ports, as I mentioned, but it's kind of surprising. We really haven't heard almost anything about these things in the West.
Oh yeah. Well, they also had bootleg Shrek. I know, because we've had that here. They had gummy bears.
Somehow those bootleg things for mainstream Western systems sort of made it over here in, I don't know, collections of bootlegs that you find online. But these old obscure systems where people haven't heard of the console even are still languishing in some obscurity. Fortunately, despite all that, we have good emulation for this. I haven't, at least with this particular emulator, I haven't seen any flaws in it at all.
It's honestly, you know, this is going pretty well, despite the infinite death loop that supposedly had been patched out, but actually didn't. You know, and the awkward jumping. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bad game looking at it from today's eyes, but I found it to be a lot of fun to play, and I could certainly imagine, you know, compared to some of the other stuff that was on the market at this time, this was just really graphically very impressive, and sort of the cutting edge thing that you were hoping to see and come out of the demo scene.
If you call a hammer cutting edge, but yeah. It was cutting edge. Okay, I'm joking. I'm joking, okay?
Look, I mean, like, yeah, I think if this had come out in the United States, if you could have gotten something like this for the for Amiga or something like that, this would have sold pretty well.
I think it.
I mean, it's a long game.
Yeah, you're right.
Most of these games we had, and part of the reason I often have trouble finding old stuff that we can use for Kuso is that you can beat the game in 15 minutes. And this has actually a lot of replay value, even though there are no continues and you go back to the very beginning of the game. You learn the structure of the pyramid a little better, you learn where the items are placed, so you actually can go through it a lot more quickly, so it's not quite as frustrating as your typical platformer where you're just going through the same left to right over and over again. And you have the super speed, or when you've learned the levels really well.
Yeah, I love when games give you an option to control, like, in a way that is not controllable. It makes me excited.
I mean, it does have some use. If you're waiting for some of the skulls bounce all over the screen, if you're waiting for one of their cycles to end, you can do that. Or if you're waiting for the rainbow blocks, which come on and disappear, you can do it. It's just, it doesn't really seem worth the time, unless you're speed running it.
Author Blues, by the way, is now in 37,000 points.
And he's back at that huge treasure trove.
Oh yeah, this is going to be over 40,000.
Oh, the money. 2,000 for the money. 500 for the map.
Gotta get the money. Oh, 39,000. Yeah, High Spirits is definitely in second place with 24,000.
See, now Odd could have just used the map, and then he would have had something else in his inventory.
How do you use the map?
You just down and jump.
Wait, really?
There's no way I would have figured that out without instruction. I was like, I have this map, what do I do with it? I told them all. I think I've seen Author Blues look at the map a few times. So.
Oh yeah, he's used the map. He knows how to use it.
I mean, my strategy for getting points was just use up the things as fast as I could and get more.
I love the skulls when you speed it up. They just bounce all over the place.
It's like now Author Blues, his inventory is filled up, so he can't take that master key, which would have been really helpful.
Just gotta use the map. There we go. The map's gone.
There you go.
And extra life achieved. That's the high mark, 41,000 so far. That's huge.
Yeah. So now Author Blues can just go get that master key, one screen up.
Or just do that.
Yeah.
Whee!
I love how fast you fall to your death.
Okay, there we go. He's pretty good. High Spirits, getting your game over at 28,000 points. I think that might be it for High Spirits.
High Spirits has the music, so they can't actually completely end the game.
Well, I mean, we could move over to Author Blues if needed.
Author Blues' screen?
Oh no! Author Blues!
So, that's never happened before. Let's just talk about how great the emulation was. Well, fortunately, it doesn't seem like it's going to make any difference in the outcome.
I
don't think anybody else is
it
getting
will.
to 43,000.
Well, let's go ahead and keep watching Curry Bro and Bendy Human, because they both have a pretty good attempt going on right now. Yeah, I don't think Author Blues has too much to worry about. He did a good job. You said this was the most accurate emulator you were able to find?
Yeah, some of the other ones, they didn't emulate music well. I got some kind of crackling noises in it. And some of them wouldn't play this ROM file. They were only allowing you to do disk images. So I haven't figured out yet how to take a file and put it into a disk image, if that's even possible.
Wait, let me listen to Author Blues music, because apparently it's something. Okay, I don't hear anything. Never mind. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't hear his audio cadence, so I cannot. So yeah, Author Blues definitely has the high mark here. Like, Curry Bro could possibly pass High Spirits in a little bit. I think there's enough time.
Between them.
Yeah. Okay, Curry Bro is apparently in second place right now. Bendy Human just got a game over. That is the end, my friend. My only friend, the end.
That's it for High Spirits, but Curry Bro still has a chance of catching him. Fortunately, Curry Bro doesn't have the right key for that door, but does have the number 3 key for that door.
Oh, boy. Okay, final 2 minutes.
Past High Spirits.
Yeah, so let's see what Curry Bro is able to do in the final minute and a half. I don't think it is going to be too difficult. Okay, just so everybody knows, by the way, the runners are not currently in Twitch chat. It is fine to talk about what's going on there, so they should not get any spoilers from what's happening there. Okay, Curry Bro destroying a couple of the snakes, I guess. Even though they look like headstones. Okay. 40 seconds left. Curry Bro, you gotta rush. He's Russian. Well, I mean the game's
Nice.
Russian, but you know. Okay, 15 seconds left, and then we can put an end to this music, Jeff.
Oh, that's too bad.
Whether you like it or not. And I am saying that is time. Oh, Jeff. I want to go to a pyramid now. I want to go exploring.
You might find a lot of deaths in there.
Oh, I believe it. Lots of death.
I always wonder, like, if death dies, does that mean that people keep die? Because death is not the
I'm sure there's, like, Death Jr. is gonna show up and kill people.
Oh.
Like, it's fine. So, just so everybody knows, Author Blues definitely took the victory here with over 40,000 points. Curry Bro coming in second, High Spirits third, and Bendy Human fourth. This was a pretty intense match, you know, and I feel like everybody on their last attempt really gave a good push.
Everybody did really well. This was a really tough game, as you can see by the number of deaths that people were getting. And they really improved tremendously over the course of the hour.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a lot of work to do that. Hello, Author Blues.
Hello, Author... No, Bracentia.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Dude, congratulations on the victory here. I know that at the end, the game kind of crashed on you, so it was a little worrisome.
It went plaid, but I saw Kate has typed in chat that it was 5 minutes remaining, so I was like, I guess that's as good as any. I wasn't even really anticipating doing a final attempt because I thought my 41,000 from my attempt with 15 minutes remaining was probably as good as I was going to do, and then it occurred to me that Jeff had said that ranking was going to be based on highest score, and so my very next attempt, I was like, how many points do you get for killing an enemy? And once I realized it was like 900 points, I just went on a rampage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how to do it.
The only other comments I have about this game, first off, this game actually turned out to be kind of sick. My only other comments were...
Of course it did. Aren't all my games sick?
Actually,
in a way.
Both of the games you've given to me in Kusogr4nde 4 have both been a ton of fun. The two things is you didn't mention what the postage stamp item did, but I figured out that it was most likely just like an inventory blocker.
No, it was the golden key.
Okay, well, I never figured out that golden key. The master key, the small one, I figured out, but I didn't figure out what that golden key was. It didn't. Oh, I see.
So there's some door. So it's like it functions as a number 4 key, just without the number 4 on it.
Oh, that was the one I kept using my master keys on. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I just misunderstood. And the other thing is I didn't really take it to heart when you commented that there were 32 different types of rooms, and so my first attempt, I got really sidetracked because I thought I was looping on myself, when in reality it was just that they reuse rooms. So it took me a little bit of time to get my bearings with that.
Yeah, there are a few things about the game that are a little confusing like that, which is why I decided to give everybody the summary of the instructions to help out with some of those things. I didn't want this to be... I don't think they intended the challenge of the game to be not understanding that there are different kinds of rooms, since they put that in the instructions. I thought you all should know.
Right. Otherwise, it turned out to be a really cool game. It took me until pretty much the end of the match for me to realize how to scam points out of the game. Otherwise, I had it in my head that I was I figured the further the progress I made, the more points I would get, and then later I realized that if I kind of just knew where the enemies were and knew where the weapons were, I could combine those to create points. So
yeah, that was definitely where you started making a huge amount of progress. Well, sweet. I'm glad that you liked the game. Honestly, watching it, I thought this game has issues, but it seems janky enough that I think I would have fun with it.
Oh, for sure. I think you'd enjoy playing through it without a time pressure, because that was the big thing, is trying to force my way through a room with enemies. If I could really take my time to go back and find weapons, you could make a ton of progress.
Oh, yeah. Well, cool. Anything else you want to add before we kick you off? Anything you want to say happening in your life?
I never thought I'd make it to brackets.
You're to bracket, Author Blues. Oh my gosh.
I know. Aside from Kusogr4nde 1, I haven't really had a good Kusogr4nde yet, so the fact I'm making it to brackets makes me really proud of myself.
Aw. I'm super happy for you. Oh my gosh.
Thanks.
Well, congratulations, and I'll see you later, Author Blues. Thank you.
You can't fire me, I quit.
Wow. I'm sad. I don't know what to say about that. I'm offended. Oh, Jeff, thank you so much, and I hope you have a fantastic day, okay?
Thanks. So what do we have coming up next?
Well,